everyone. Welcome to another edition of SCAA News. I am Nikki Batgirl D'Angelo. It's December 4th. 8 days have gone by since the end of the anniversary sale. D-Day. Battle of the lack of a bulge in your wallet. So many things you can call it, but you and everyone that was involved with this did wonderfully. Pledges rolled in so fast, I couldn't keep up with the different letters that Chris had to release. It was quite a show. That's all I could say. And it seemed that throughout the week, the number one players in the sale monetarily were the 350R, the Starfarer on Monday, the military ships on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And since there's three of them, I think the Retaliator led that charge. Not sure about the other two. And then all blank broke loose on Tuesday with the live stream when the Bono Merchantmen and the Sheehan Scout went on sale. And oh my lord, I guess I missed two updates that day. And you guys just did wonderfully. And we saw a lot of amazing new stuff that they were going to be bringing out to us. And I'm going to talk about that in a little bit. First off, the sale netted over $3 million. And that got us three amazing new ships. Of course, the Orion, the Aegis Surveyor, what I'm looking at as being one of my favorites, the Anvil Carrack. And we're going to talk a little bit about that one. And the Carrack, the Anvil Carrack has been the vanguard of every UEE exploration effort in recent years, featuring reinforced fuel tanks, long-duration flight, a highly advanced jump drive, and dedicated computer core room that allows it to put the maximum processing power into jump charting operations. Originally a military exclusive, the Carrack is now available for civilian use as a Pathfinder spacecraft. Features onboard accommodations to allow for a truly self-sufficient flight, including medical and repair facilities and mapping-oriented sensor suite capable of always charting around home. I know I talked about this the last time, but somebody put something up on one of my videos that said that they thought that the Freelancer was more like the Serenity. I'll keep bringing this one up until I die, I'm telling you. But in actuality, the Serenity is more like this ship because of the medical facility, the repair facility. So I hope they make it big, but I wonder if that's going to be possible, being that exploration is something that a lot of people will do alone. I can't wait to see this one. All right, 33 million happened when I was hard at work. And last week was crazy busy for me. I work in retail. I can't tell you how many hours I put in or what I sold. All I could tell you is that I ran around like crazy. And when this one came through, I was probably just dead asleep or probably doing something with my children as the last opportunity I would have to spend with them before January 1st. It was so hectic last week, I lost touch of the stretch goals. So when we were hitting 31, 32, and $33 million, we were actually unlocking the Anvil Carrack at 33, and that's already in the books. We also were able to see that the unlocks gave us some other ships to work for. The $34 million goal is actually working for the MISC Hull C Discreet, and that's going to be the smuggler ship. So scaling from a small box trucks to massive supertankers, the MISC range of cargo hulls A through D are the standard goods transporter in human space. Extremely configurable, MISC hulls can be adapted for most any type of transport job, from standard bulk shipping on the patrolled space lanes to armored cargo hauling on the frontier. While these pre-configured hulls are primarily used for legitimate purposes, the MISC Hull Cs have recently become the favorite for criminals who modify their ships with advanced sensors to shadow technology, quick decompress holds, and a variety of hidden compartments without modifying the ship's body so it will appear to onlookers as the standard everyday transporters. So that's the one that we're currently working on. And the next one was going to be the Drake Herald. So I'm doing this after the fact because there were so many of these that came through last week and so many hours that I worked that I'm sure you can cut me a little bit of slack, right? And if not, I'll have BFC come and take care of y'all. This is what ate through my webcam. This huge cat. So that's all I got for you right now, and back to the rest of the show. So the Drake Herald, knowledge is power, and one of the most valuable commodities is pure information. The ones and zeros behind everything from UEC ledgers to citizenship ratings, whether it's colonists' struggle to stay in contact with the UEE's central worlds or criminal trading in illicit data, there will always be a need to securely move data. The Drake Herald, small armored ship, is designed to fit that need and safely get the information from point A to point B, featuring a powerful central engine for high-speed transit and generating the power needed for effective data encryption and containment. Advanced encryption software and an armored computer core, the Herald is unique among personal spacecraft in that it is designed to be easily cleaned, in other words, wiped, when in danger of capture. The Herald includes an array of heavy-duty internal options for data protection, including redundant power subsystems and EMP shielding. So when I read this one, and high-powered broadcast array for data transmission. When I read this one, the only thing I could think of was many have Bothan died getting you this information. But this is the one that's going to get the information from A to B. It's a huge galaxy, and Chris is trying to keep this as realistic as possible, where it takes information sometimes months or years to span the actual space of UEE controlled space. We had the live stream on Tuesday, and the live stream was broken up into a lot of different parts. There were many different videos that were in there, and one of the things that we didn't see was the dogfighting module, and we'll get to that in just a little bit. We did see a little bit behind the scenes in the music section, I guess you could call it. Chris, very early on, added a stretch goal that was going to be for there to be a complete orchestrated soundtrack to this game, and that goes way back to the original Wing Commander that I first remember playing in the 90s, dying to get it for my Amiga, but having to build a PC to play it, and then it came out for my Amiga and my Amiga CD32. But still, the one thing that set that game apart was how beautifully orchestrated the music was in the game, whether it was out and about in space, you failed a mission, you succeeded in a mission, somebody died, there was great music for every piece of it. So what we got to do was we got to learn, or we got to meet Pedro Macedonia Camacho and the Capellan Orchestra. So go out there and watch the video about this, and if you're really into the orchestration of game soundtracks, which I am, very big fan of Russell, I can't remember his name now. I want to say Russell Brand, but the gentleman that did the WoW orchestras, the WoW soundtracks. I get all of their music on CD, or I should say downloaded from iTunes. The next thing that came up was, and I'm going to just show you first, this is this is in my hangar, my business hangar, and this is the Avenger. This is what it looked like. It's nice. It's beautiful. I love the look and the feel of it. Here's it in the actual deluxe hangar. Just waiting for it to show up, sorry. And I think they're beautiful. I love the look of the Avenger. But we got introduced to something called PBR, physics-based rendering. That's not supposed to even have a hit in frame rate, which I can't believe. I think that I probably have that wrong, but I heard that. But it turns this into this. You have to watch this video. And if you do, you're going to go out and buy an Avenger. This is gorgeous. And one of the things that's holding up both the dogfighting module, but also the newer hanger releases, is that they don't want to keep on upgrading ships for this. It's going to be placed on every one of the ships that are already in the hanger. So look for PBR to be a big part of whatever the next patch is. And then we could all see what kind of hit it's going to have on our computers. That's something that's really going to get me. We've spent all this money on ships, and I know I'm moving around the screen now. I'm wondering, are we going to have anything left to build computers? I toy with the idea of having some kind of a Kickstarter to get me a computer to play this game, but I would never ask you all to help me with that. I'm going to have to curtail my Star Citizen spending to be able to build a rig fast enough to play this game now that they're doing all these wonderful things with it. All right, next thing we heard a little bit. These are just things that were heard around the actual live stream, and I'm just going to go into one or two of them. First thing was dogfighting module. Chris was adamant about this, and I think it got passed over by some, not heard by others that just didn't want to hear it. The dogfighting module is probably going to be slightly delayed because we want it right the first time. Now we know this is an alpha and it's not going to be perfect, but it should be done in systems, and those include the AI, the flight model, and the damage model, and all those have to come together and be tweaked to a point where they can be put out into the module so we all could play it and then start giving feedback on, you know, how one ship is against the other and what are the bugs that we find. If they were just to release a placeholder, it really would be a waste of their time and a waste of ours just to give us some cool things to do. So the second tidbit is they are giving us a cool thing to do. We're getting this test rig, again, another one of these wonderful videos online, where we can go and we can actually sit in our hangar and shoot at targets. I'm not against this. I wasn't against the buggy at all. I had fun with it, trying to jump through those hoops and knock over all those cans. But I wish there was a button to turn it on and off. I have no idea how this is going to be rendered in our hangars, like where it's going to be. It looks kind of fun, but it looks like it could be monotonous. But what it is going to do is give us a basic idea of how each one of the weapons are going to work, what their fire rates are going to be, what their energy consumption is going to be. And we're really going to have a lot of control over the test rig in being able to go up to the holotable and make some changes to it, add ammunition boxes. I think I heard that. Maybe some boosters. What I wish they'd do is just turn on my workbench. So I could start playing with modding the weapons, but maybe that's just a lot too early, much earlier than the dogfighting module. I don't know. But that would be fun to be able to do that and then go on the test rig and see how your weapon works. It would be cool to see if you screwed up and your weapon just blew up. That would be cool. But those are a couple of tidbits that came out from there. And really go back, watch it, read about it. There's a thread that if you watch the last episode of The Whole Truth, there'll be hopefully I stick something down here for that. Wonderful video. He's got a link to a thread that has all of the information that was given out in chronological order in the actual live stream. So next piece, Jump Point 12. This is subscribers only, but I always say it because I want all y'all to subscribe. Jump Point 12 featured the Cutlass and Drake Interplanetary shipbuilders. So you have the work in progress for the Cutlass. It's making me want to buy one, but I'm going to hold on until it's actually in the hangar and after Christmas when my kids have their presents. Looks so good. I wonder if I could turn it into a Mercy ship. Maybe I could be the one that goes and picks y'all up when you get shot down. Don't know. I'll put a big red cross on it, right? We also got the Aegis Goliath mouse pad for subscribers. It's a subscriber only item in the pledge store at this point. So another reason to subscribe besides getting your name on a wall and in the game and helping out Wingman's Hangar. That's a good one, right? The a couple of other things. We had the Thanksgiving wish from Chris Roberts, kind of like thanking us all for being such a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful group. And I love being part of this community, which is why I'm trying to start a social org for the show, for SCAA. We also got a couple of other things that have been on the website. The website's been really not as much information coming out. I mean, there are good lore items. Last month, when we had the freelancer in the actual jump point, they had this GOS update, and it's just a system, and I may speak about it next show. I'm going to skip one for this show since I did 2 ships in the actual ship review. We have the next great Starship contest. Here it is over here. Registration is almost over. You heard Sandy in the live stream saying that there's well over 100 applicants so far, or registered contestants. So if you still have any inclination of getting involved with the next great Starship contest, I'm sorry, tripping over my words, you may want to get out there and get registered. Remember, these are teams of people, and there's tons of things to win in this. The last thing I have for you is going to be This Day in History. I'm not going to read it. It's what appeared this morning on the comlink. It talks about the first Imperator, so it's something that has to do with the universe that we're going to be playing in. If you're one of those people that loves lore, like I do, I really implore you to go out there. Which leads me to this. If you want to do a lore segment on this show, please submit it to me at theaddictedgamer@gmail.com or nikkydangelo@icloud.com. It's all up to you. I'd love to get community input on the show. Haven't had much yet, but it would be wonderful to see if you all would want to ask questions or do little pieces of it like that. Finally, the Icarus Group's anniversary contest, which started on the 22nd of October and ended on the 26th. It might have been the 25th. But it ended last week. It's run into some problems with tallying all of the entries. They've had to do a lot by hand and enter them back into the computer. Face it, we hit their thread real hard with thousands and thousands of entries, and some people had tens or even close to 100 entries. Thank you very much, whoever you are. You really did help us get to that Idris as being the top prize. I still don't know if we made it. I haven't seen any of them saying that we have unlocked that as one of the prizes. Nonetheless, the 3 grand prizes, or I should say the 3 main prizes are 1 Weekend Warrior, 2 Avenger packages, and 3 Aurora packages. Can't wait to see who wins what, and if we did unlock the address, that'll be on Friday. I've been struggling to make this as professional as I could, and I'm running into some minor difficulties, most of them based on the hardware that it takes for me to shoot this with. Started with a webcam and a cat, which was going to be sitting here, decided to walk away, ate through the wire. I then moved to a 2-year-old point and shoot camera, and I just want to build the quality up. So I think after the holiday, sometime in mid-January, late January, I'm going to put a donate button up somewhere on one of the sites I have and see if I could raise some money to get a Canon video camera or possibly a better digital camera to shoot it with. I think a SL1 would be fine. It's not that expensive. It's a few $100 to $500, $600 if I go to B&H. But I think that's something that I might look for. Unless there's something better. I'd love to eventually get into the thousands and get a much better camera, but I'm not going to ask you all to do that. I'm going to try to do that on my own. Thank you very much for watching, and I will be right back at you in a week or less. And hopefully next week I'll have an interview with somebody who I can't disclose at this moment. And if not, that'll come in the future. Thanks again. Have a wonderful week. Bye. This is Nikki Batgirl D'Angelo, and I am going to do something fun today. I'm going to be talking about the 2 entry-level ships / starter packages. Now, we had a huge week of sales that ended last Tuesday with the live stream, and there were lots and lots and lots of new and exciting and beautiful ships that were purchased. However, even with the numbers that were sold, they are by far nowhere near the numbers that these 2 ships will now have in game. In fact, when the Persistent Universe Star Citizen goes live, these are going to be the ships that fill the space above the planets we'll be flying between. So although some of us have gone hog wild buying every ship that's available, these are the 2 that are the most prominent at this point. Now, the Aurora MR is part of the Digital Scout package and the Digital Mercenary package, both of those being under $50. And the Aurora LN, of course, is in the $45 package, which is the digital, I think it's called the Next Generation Aurora package, as long as that hasn't changed with the recent updates to the Pledge Store. In the background to your right, just above the tail of the Aurora MR, you could see the actual Aurora LN commercial, which started all this craze about that ship. Now, with all the ships that were purchased and all the excitement, I thought it would be great to give a little bit back to the people that don't spend all the money, and just to show them what they're getting and talk a little bit about the 2 ships. First off, I don't think any of my actual reviews has shown off the starter hanger, which is called the discount hanger. This one is all of a sudden one of my favorites. I've had the business hanger or the deluxe hanger so long, I kind of lost touch with the roots of it all. And this particular hanger gives you more of an air of, well, you know, if I took the 2 Auroras out of this and made it just a tad bit bigger, I'd swear you'd be able to see the Millennium Falcon right in here. This looks more like a hanger I would see in a sci-fi show. Sorry for the raspy voice. I worked a lot of hours this weekend for Black Friday. So let's just take a look around the hangar and see what things we find. Let's go into third person mode. Let's walk over to the little wardrobe unit over here and change. Like I said before, I like to have hair. I wish I had my female character already. So we've got the wardrobe assistant over here. We've got, of course, the hollow table where we can actually make changes to our ships. And let's see what this does for us over here. Does it fill in the blanks yet? No. I would expect that to be filled in with the next couple of updates. But we've done that in other shows. We're not going to waste the time here because we have 2 ships to talk about. Let's just walk around the hangar. This is where they put the actual video. And this is the door that leads out into the rest of the Persistent Universe, which will be the planet-side module eventually. We've got a huge catwalk over here, and we're going to jump on. Okay, so we get up. We're just going to look at things from above. I love the catwalk. I'm telling you, this really does look very much more sci-fi than the other 2 hangars. And there you have the top of the Aurora. Now the ships that now appear in here, I believe, are limited to the Auroras and the 300i series. If I'm wrong, somebody please post it in the notes. I think most of the others, like the Freelancer and the Avenger, go in the business hangar. Of course, the bigger ships like the Connie goes into the deluxe hangar. And the pirate ships go into the asteroid hangar. If I'm missing anything at all, and please, 40 hours and 3 days, just cut me some slack. So I'm going to open up my handy dandy trusty iPad over here. Well, actually this time I'm going to actually go to the website, and we're going to talk a little bit about what the ships over here have in store for us. So the first one that we're going to go look at is going to be the MR. That is going to be the most prevalent ship, so we're going to spend a little bit of time on it. Most of what's true for the MR is going to be true for the LN, being size and, category, what you can do with it. But there will be some differences. So as we walk around here and I get to the ship spec page, we will talk about this beautiful ship. So as we stand in front of it, you see this all glass canopy, which gives you more of a look of a helicopter than it does a starship. If you look back at one of my original shows where I showed off the actual, I guess it was a foreshadowing or a review of patch 8, I talked a lot about the way that this looked like a Sikorsky helicopter from years and years ago. So you've got this beautiful look, all round view, and we're going to take a look at it inside. And then sitting on the ground in front of us are two Bearing M3A laser cannons. These are the little brothers to the ones on the Constellation. As we come around, you see the scoops over here, and those scoops are for the power plant. The power plant is actually going to be the Alliance StarTech KS9 Enhanced. And that's just a size 2, of course. We go a little bit further towards the back, and we're going to see the thruster, which we're calling engines, and I know I keep saying that. This is a TR3. It's a Dragon STC Red. And of course, the MR is only got 6 TR1 maneuvering thrusters, and those are the KDX TM-4 sliders. The length of this ship is going to be 18.5 meters. It's going to be 8.25 meters in width, 4.1 meters in height, and this is from the most updated specs on October 30th. So I believe those were released after the actual brochure came out, so those should be more accurate. Right above this doorway, which I think is a docking collar, on the top is another weapons hardpoint. So you have the class 1s down there. There's a class 3, which is of course missiles. And the class 3 is going to be the Bearing heat-seeking missiles. I believe, I don't have the name in front of me, so I'll look. Didn't write those down. Those are not going to be listed because they are not part of this ship. So those would be part of the upgrades that you could get, but they are heat-seeking missiles, which means easily spoofed. Okay, so the MR is the entry-level ship. If you were going to buy a car and you were looking at it, you would have a base model, you would have one step up, and then you would have a GT, GTX, LX, or something of that category. This would be the middle of the line. The ES is not available for sale right now, as is the CL, which is a dedicated cargo ship. But this would be the top of the line ship that you can now buy. That's not a limited ship, so that would be more like the LX. And this would be the one that would be right in the middle. I'm using my recent buying experience of a cruise to give those labels out, by the way. I think it was Chris Roberts that associated this ship with the Ford Escort, meaning there are going to be thousands of them in-game. So because it's one of the base model ships and not very luxurious, you're going to see a little bit of scratched paint on some things, and as we get in here and we look, we'll talk about that. So the first thing that we're going to do is when we get in, we're going to go into first person view, because I want to get what we see. So we get two placeholder MFDs. Still not sure what's going to be on them, but I am sure they are not going to be replicated like they are now. I'm almost definitely sure there should be some kind of radar in this area over here. And that, of course, after we saw the live stream, is just a placeholder for the HUD. So it will not be the HUD that will be in game. The HUD will be much more advanced than what we're looking at, just not as advanced as the Hornet or 325. We've got amazing view out the canopy here, probably better than almost any of the other ships except for the 300 series and the Avenger series. So definitely better than the, well, we haven't seen the Cutlass yet, so that might just come in better. But definitely better than the Hornet. Much better. So we have much nicer field of view than the Hornet. Up top, I don't know what those controls are. I wonder if it's like a crane or something to lift up your cargo into the cargo area. This doesn't have a cargo hold on it. It's something that's lifted up and carried, kind of like a tractor trailer would do, an 18-wheeler here in the States. Alright, so yeah, we've got 2 sticks. One, my guess would be, does the backwards and, well, the roll axis. And of course we've got the pitch axis and probably the yaw axis over there. My guess is that whatever keys move the throttle forward and back would be the keys that push that forward and back. So you've got a dual joystick system in control here, which should be very accurate, very well, if you were able to set yourself up one, it would be probably a very good way of maneuvering this spaceship. Alright, we're going to put it into third person mode again. There we are, and just take a look around. We're going to go on the outside. I like to do this a lot. I don't know what those 2 things are. Oh, they're lights, obviously. Nothing underneath. Of course, there's 2 fans on each side of the wings, so 4 total, that will lift this thing up vertically and land it vertically. The dorsal mount is just in this area behind the cockpit. That's where your missiles would go. Your engine is in that area back there. So I would say this is a pretty looking ship for an entry-level ship. Sorry about the iPhone. Alright, so we've got 2 docking colors, one left, one right. I wonder if that means that we would be able to dock with 2 things at once. I don't know how it's going to do that without there being some kind of extension on the docking collar. Maybe that's something that happens. Just don't know that yet. I'm liking this ship more and more the more I look at it. Alright, so we're going to get out of the pilot seat and watch the animations. I'm amazed with how detailed this stuff is. This is one of the things that are going to set this game apart from anything else out there right now. Alright, in this area, which I think is the same on both ships, so maybe I'll just go into it in one of them. This is the non-luxury hypersleep chamber. This is where you come to go to log out of the game. Picture it as being an inn inside of WoW or EverQuest 2. Where you could immediately log out. I guess you come in here and after a few seconds your ship is despawned from the physical universe, the persistent universe. Okay, let's get out of it. I know that you could see out of it and see the stars. I'm trying not to take up so much time. 2 ships. So what other things does this have? This has a J-span omni-cool reduction bar. That might be something to reduce the heat from the weapons, but I'm not sure. There's no description of that anywhere. And it has a Store All Mini, which carries 5 tons. Of course, that's upgradable to the larger Store All, which carries 10. And that would be something that would fit right in this area. There's your sleep chamber, there's the window so you could see out on the world. So you can fit a 5 or 10 ton cargo carrying unit here. This unit is listed as an interdiction class ship, so it's either going to be delivering goods behind enemy lines or messing up supply lines, taking out easy targets, freighters, things like that behind enemy lines. With only a size 2 shield, and it's a Seal INK-1 on 3 upgrade slots. I don't think that this ship is going to have a lot that it could do early on. Proper upgrades and a really good pilot, I think that this one is going to be a nice starter ship to have. Still have to see what the Mustang has. I know I'd say Mustang and talk about it too much, but I'm very much dying to see what that is. Alright, already you can see the more beefiness of this fighter over here. This is a 2944 variant of the LN, 1 year newer than the 2943 MR over there. The commercial shows, you know, kind of the rich kid in high school that gets the car and throws the wings and the bigger tire and everything else on it. So this new spaceship driver, decided he wanted the leather seat and the beefier engine and power plant and the better lasers on it. These are laser repeaters, very high rate of fire. You've got 4 of them. This is a militia craft for patrolling probably the lawless areas or the borderland areas of UEE space. It's probably going to pack a little bit more punch. It's got 8 maneuvering thrusters, and it's got bigger engines and the 4 gun mounts, all which cannot be added to the MR. So although there are some things you could add to the MR over there, they're never going to be able to add enough over here. All this comes at a loss of 1 upgrade slot. You only have 2 upgrade slots over here. My guess is that some are already taken up by the better targeting system that you would need for the missiles and the extra guns. At least I'm hoping. So let's talk a little bit about this one. The MR was 15,750 kilograms, so really light. So maybe the 6 maneuvering thrusters were enough to make it a little bit more agile than you would expect. This one weighing in at 18,500 kilograms, it gains another 2 maneuvering thrusters for 8 total. So a little bit more maneuverable. It's the same KDK TM4 sliders. You see the beefier, thicker, heavier duty hydrogen scoops here and on top up there. Those are all running the A&R LR5 Max Overdrive engine. That is a size 2 also. Alright, so I've been looking and being confused by the actual brochure and the ship spec page, so I'm going off of the ship spec page for now on. The upgrade space on the MR is listed as 4 slots, not 3, and not 2 slots for the LN, but 5, so it has 1 extra. So I'm going to stick to this since it's the more upgraded one. We are going to talk about the shield real quick. It is a size 3 instead of the size 2 on the MR, and it's a Gorgon Defender All-Stop, the same one that we see in the actual 325A series. We come back, we've got a nice green and yellow paint job. I kind of like it. It's nice. The thruster isn't showing up in my model right now. It keeps winding up on the table, and even though I keep putting it into the ship, it just doesn't show up. But the thruster is a OKB Vashkud Energia 4, and that's a TR3 of course. So we've got a little bit more oomph, a little bit more power. Oh, I walked past the ladder, so of course Chucky has to jump on it. When we come around to the front, and we just see that huge cannon. That's a Klaus and Werner. That's a Bulldog, so that means it's a CF007. I wonder what this would look like with the 117s on it that are on the Hornet, the military version, the F7CM, which right now are actually replaced by those big, huge Gatling guns. Alright, we're going to open it up. It's not going to be much different. Like I said, there's beefier things here. Probably a beefier struts here, though I'm not sure. I think just the color of them make them look beefy. Yeah, the silver over there makes it look smaller than the black over here, so it's probably still the same. So we're going to go in. And the only real difference here as you look at the cockpit, until they actually put systems inside of it and we can see what the actual targeting systems in HUD and MFDs, how they look different. But we pretty much have the same look and feel inside this ship. Same wonderful visibility, and you know, we could also look down, which is something that you don't get to do in most of the fighters, in all of the fighters in this game. I guess the only other ship where you can see down is the Constellation so far. Gonna have to see how the new ships come in. The scary part about this is that the actual spaceships that you'll be fighting that have physical ammunition like mass drivers and Gatling guns, I'm fearing that they'll crack this canopy, and if I'm not wearing my helmet, I'll just die instantaneously. This might be a ship that you want to make sure that you're in a spacesuit when you're in it. Let's go into third person mode like we did before. There's a much more comfortable seat. The other one was like sitting on an F4 Phantom seat. Really thin, really thick, well, thin cushioning, thick seat, meaning very uncomfortable. This one looks like it would be pretty comfortable for a long space flight. Not much difference at all for the rest of the ship. I wonder if the ejection system puts some kind of a force field bubble or inflatable bag around you. Because this injection seat in this and the 300 series are very beefy. Unlike the Constellation, where you have to run all the way back to the rear of the ship to get into your bed to launch. I like some of the third-party ideas for turning that ship into something better. So far, really liking this ship. It's a nice starter one. I will be leaving these two ships in this hangar. This is Cosmic Cat, my second persona. This will be the one that I do the game from the start. Whereas with Batgirl, I will be jumping right into the universe and doing as much as I can, wreaking as much havoc as I can with my Retaliator and my Constellation and my other wonderful ships. I want to play the game both from a starter level and from a, well, you get the idea, from both ends. One thing that is definitely different on this side, which you cannot see unless I go through the ship. So we're going to just go through the ship. This window on the other one, you could see out on the world. The only thing that you could see out on the windows that he's looking at right now are the huge ducts that feed the larger engine for this ship. Let's get Chucky out of here. I can't wait to have my own female character. Come on, you can move faster than that. I'm wondering if there's like a toilet and stuff in there, or if he has to hook up to a hose like they do in some of the older aircraft that I've flown on in the military. Alright, we are out of here. I want to take one last look around. So we have the Aurora LN again. This one is part of the next generation Aurora package, which does get you beta and alpha access. And the MR is part of two packages, either the either the Digital Scout or the Digital Mercenary. And as I'm saying that, later on, the prices of those will appear below, believe me. I want to take one last look around the actual area. I think this is where your workbench shows up should you purchase it. And for those of you that don't, it's the only way to overclock and mod your engine, thrusters, and laser cannons and other weapons. Wonder where the weapons test bay will go in here. Wow. Really like this area. I'm just liking the look of this hangar. I think they need to beat up the deluxe hangar a little bit, make it a little bit darker to give it more of a sci-fi feel. Alright everybody, that is my look at the two starter ships that we have so far. Expect this to be altered in the future when this little beauty in front of us is changed into a Mustang, as I compare a Mustang to the Aurora LN. But that is months off. Thank you all, and stay tuned for another Confession of a Star Citizen Addict. This week's confession comes from Z-Bone Capone. Hi, my name is Z-Bone Capone, and I'm an addict. I got to the party late, but I sure did play some catch-up. I have been following the development of Star Citizen for a few months and even heard about the 24-hour live stream way back in June. I think that's when it was. And didn't have a job at the time, so couldn't force myself to buy any ships. Fast forward to October, and I have a job. Kind of forgot about Star Citizen, gasp. And then ran into a thread on OCN about the anniversary sale and knew this was my chance. I always loved the look of the Connie, but told myself spending $225 on a game that doesn't even have an alpha is ridiculous. Then I started reading the Spectrum dispatches, followed the forum on OCN, and realized how amazing this game was going to be. When Anniversary Week went live, I bought the Lightspeed 350R package on Tuesday, bought the Aurora LX on Wednesday, plan on melting it when the Mustang comes out, and then the F7CM over the weekend. At this point, I was done. Then I realized I could get LTI and the Connie through a friend, so I sent them PayPal money for that. The Monday rolled around, and I just had to have the Starfarer, the most beautiful ship in my opinion. Then I was done. When Tuesday hit, I realized how much I wanted both the Banu Merchantman and the Xi'an Scout, but rationalized I had the Starfarer, and I didn't need the Merchantman, but I did need the Scout, so I bought that. You notice? There's a lot of, and then I was done in this story. I'll be done for a while, unless of course they release variants of the Connie and Starfarer soon. Then I'll truly be broke. I must say, it feels so good to be funding the development of a game I know will be amazing. I'm sure a lot of people feel that way as well.